Good.
No, they haven't started that yet. No,
Did I get Zane's? I got Zane's, I got Quentin's.
Abel has questions in the backyard. Well,
Yeah.
I want you to explain to me, how's this tree bad?
Okay. It's invasive, so it kind of takes over.
Okay,
Now,
thank
we all
you.
the
Yeah.
Brian Wade, how much time did you
Not
spend?
probably that
40?
tree in his yard.
You were ready. You knew I was coming to you eventually.
Picked on me. We can talk about that Monday too. I'd be happy to show you one and show why it's bad and all that stuff.
Hey Judy,
Yeah.
Thanks.
you know I give you that quote for the subcommittee, but I had the wrong PI, I had the wrong number on it.
That's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to update that grant anyways, but I just sent in the renewal.
Okay.
So I needed your quote, so I knew.
Did I send you that quote?
No,
I did.
Oh, did Doc send it to you?
I got it.
I thought I did. I thought I forwarded it.
Well,
up
you
to-
was wounded, so I went ahead and printed it and gave it to Judy just to make sure.
I appreciate
I
that.
think I had a physical copy of it.
Good afternoon.
Hey,
Got that.
How much time did you spend thinking about shade tree in
Oh,
December and January?
thought about it?
Shade tree was last week and I was.
How many hours? 20, let's say 20.
Okay.
I'd say that.
Oh, is that when you came in?
Yeah,
Oh,
we was in there talking, yeah.
yeah.
Howdy.
Hello.
I'm probably not
Or
going to
is
that
it tape
video.
on? I don't want to piss off Mike. I just asked
Pretty good, how are you?
Zane
Not
why
till
they
3
haven't
o'clock.
really started the, cut down pear trees yet.
That's fine with me. No.
Because we're
You still
working
bugging
at
about
it.
my trees?
Oh, is that for sure yet?
Oh, we've got it in the plan. We're just waiting to get it all done.
Like Mike
We're
from,
waiting
Mike Chair
for
went
Mike
down.
to get in all his stuff. And Scott can't treat the stumps until it's 50 degrees.
So he hasn't started yet.
So as far as I know, as of last week, he hadn't started. But there's a holdup in the auditor's office for releasing funds.
Yeah. I can't stop doing it. It's so loud.
Everything's been approved. It
Because
hasn't
then you
been
start doing
released yet.
stuff
You're gonna
that,
have to blow it up.
yeah, you just start making all sorts of.
Yes. Pens or whatever. Yes, you sure can.
Phoned me back, head of domestic phoned me back, which was nice. And, I can't remember his name now, but, he said he's got trouble in town.
Oh, they're back.
You got your minutes and your
Yep.
agenda and everything?
I do.
Anything and everything they can.
Yeah, the actual drawings of my American Holly, which I've never seen before. American Holly. Other hollies they were at.
Yeah.
I've never seen a deer eat a holly, yeah.
I've got two, arborvitaes that are probably 20 foot tall, they look like lion's tails.
Well,
We ready?
not that, but.
Are we live?
Maureen's checking.
Okay.
All she could see was the audience a little bit ago, so.
Okay.
Hang on one minute.
She could find it.
You all good?
We're live?
Yep.
We're live. All right, good afternoon. Thank you for making it here today. Hope you all had a good Christmas and New Year's. So we've got a bunch of stuff to clean up from last year with our minutes from September, October, November. And we have some corrections. Who wants to start with their, Sarah, you want to start with your corrections and go on? Sarah had some things she'd like to have changed.
Sure.
Where are you?
I'm in October, the first one, which is just under the daffodils stuff, which is page 3, Judy.
Okay.
I think it should say, the daffodil bulbs were actually donated by Town and Country Garden Club, maybe that could be noted. And I did not say we should ask them if they want to help plant them, since most of us are
Okay.
older ladies.
Okay.
I said maybe we should ask if they'd like pictures and signage. And I went and took pictures that
Okay.
day, and perhaps we can provide a sign there. But yeah, so just at the beginning, if I could say they were donated or purchased by funds from the Town and Country Garden Club, but they were not going to help plant them.
Okay.
I think the career center will probably do that.
They
Oh, it's
already
done.
did.
It's done.
It's done.
And I went out and took pictures. It was in October.
Yes.
I sent them to you and to the Town and Country Garden Club note.
Yeah, come
lady,
spring, we'll
so-
see how well they do.
Yeah,
They better for what we had to pay for.
but, and the other minor thing
Hold
in
on
October.
1 second.
Yeah, make sure Judy
That's
gets
okay.
that so she can correct.
Okay, now we're starting
Oh.
October?
Yeah,
Okay.
But it's just minor. It says
Okay.
Mr. Wagner
Says
Sorry.
mister?
for adjourning.
Where are we at?
Adjourning.
Oh,
But
adjourned?
that's minor.
I'm sorry.
And
Usually I catch it.
And then November, page
let me-
2. I think it just got copied from October for TCP when it says I'm 2/3 of the way through the list. It was actually TCP was done by the end of November, although
Okay, so where are we
I'm still
at?
waiting to hear officially if my $1,000 overage is okay for the
You'll be okay.
Can you tell me where we are for sure?
page 2 TCP.
Should be all right.
Okay,
We'll figure it out.
just say that that's done?
Yeah, it was complete in terms of meeting people and
Oh, okay.
determining trees. It was just waiting to hear about, I was over budget by like 3 trees.
We're gonna
think that's-
put the reins on you, I guess.
Well, you know,
No, you did, it's great.
For budget and docs and players.
Yeah.
70 is
I'm
such a
not-
nice, 70 is such a nice number.
So
It
did you
is.
change the number?
No,
Okay.
the numbers are right. I just went over
Okay.
from 67
All
to
right,
70.
that's fine.
That's it for me.
That's what you had?
Yeah.
Laura, you had some things?
I didn't have any corrections.
Okay. You had?
I
email
did. Yeah.
Okay, which one you on?
I'm on October, page 2,
Page 2?
right at the top. The first time my name is mentioned, the last name spelled wrong, Diener.
Oh. Got it.
The second time it's mentioned is correct.
Okay.
And then
So
it
it's
should,
DIE. Okay,
Diener.
Gotcha.
And then it should be architect instead of designer.
Okay.
There's an actual registration with the state of Ohio
Okay.
as an architect instead of a designer.
Perfect.
Very good.
And then on November, first page, under financial report, does the second and third paragraph belong there?
Not under financial, does it?
My name's spelled wrong in that too, but my question is, does the paragraphs 2 and 3 even belong in there?
No. I think paragraph 2 and 3 should be under new business.
Okay. I just go by when he says it, what we're in,
Yeah.
is what I
That's
go by.
yeah, and I jump around, sorry.
Yeah, he jumps all over the place, so I just,
So, okay, I guess, again, registered landscape designer should be architect in that if it gets moved
Okay.
around. That's all I had.
Anybody else have any corrections, things they caught that I didn't? Do you want to do them individually? Do we have to do them individually, or can we do them as a group?
no, we can do all three.
Okay, so. We would like to,
I move that the corrections be made to the minutes.
And we accept them? I'll second that, Neil. After corrections been made.
all right. So then, can we accept them now, or do we have to wait till the next meeting? Since we're making
we
corrections.
said with the.
Oh, we can do it
exception.
now. I just correct
Yeah.
them
All
myself.
right, so since we've,
yeah.
you've, so since it's been seconded, all in favor?
I
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. We'll try to be a little better about keeping up on those. So, I have to be out of here at 4, so I'm gonna talk quick, but don't hesitate to stop me if you've got questions. On the financial report, I found out that the budget has actually been voted on by city council. To my knowledge, none of the funds have been released yet, but we are funded again this year with the same dollar amount we had last year. Thank you, city council. Appreciate your efforts. Thank
And
you,
that-
Tanner, for keeping up on it.
And the dollar amount is
50,000. We don't have it yet, can't spend it yet, but we've got it coming. So under new, I put Hiawatha Park mainly because we talked about tree replacements in months past, but I didn't specifically say Hiawatha Park. When we put the new parking lot in at the park on the north side of the pavilion, north of the pool, between the residential property and the parking lot, we planted a row of arborvitaes. Well, we wound up with 6 of them right in the middle that, for whatever reason,
That's some vine.
grapevines and things in them, they've died out. So I asked for a quote to replace them, and I did get the quote, but again, we can't have them, can't have it can't spend the money, but I want to bring it up so that we make sure we know we're doing it. Should have had that out, sorry. Too many pieces of paper. It was $1,350, I think, is what it was. You guys okay with spending $1,350 to replace those arbors?
Let me ask you this, like, was there any warranty? Do you guys, like, when we plant a tree, is there a warranty?
For the first year,
How long were these there? How want the
We
park?
built it in '07.
07,
How many trees is that?
6.
Just because last summer was so dry.
Well, I think it was the grapevines got it more
Oh,
than
the
anything
Vines
else.
was in there, there were some other, funky things that I found.
And it, you know, could we leave them there? Yes. Does it look nice? No.
Yeah, they need to come out,
I
even
thi-
if you don't replace them, I'll cut them.
Yeah, if we cut them out, then we've got a big gap in the row of arborvitae's there. So, my opinion is they should be replaced. Concerns, questions, agreed?
I have no clue what arborvitae's are, but,
Well,
okay.
they're about yay big and grow tall and straight.
Is that what we had in front of the,
That
statue?
was a type of them, yeah, that was a type of arborvitae, there's
And
different species.
they line the lagoon, or the lagoon at the Labyrinth, and you'll see them out on the mount, on some of the mounds out of Foundation Park. Where else do we have a group of them?
Virtually every landscape has one or two.
Yeah, we've got them around.
So we need them,
We need them,
okay?
okay?
I'll make a motion that we accept an estimate of $1,300 to $1,350 and not spending any more money than $1,350 to replace the arborvitae's at Hiawatha Park.
All right.
Second.
Good, thank you. All in favor? All right, thank you. Once that's all, we get all our funds, we'll get that encumbered. And I put the water truck on here. We talked about this last year, and I brought it up in city council meeting. They're running the water truck all day long, and it's sitting there cooking all summer long. And they're concerned, well, not only do we spend $2,000 on fuel, but we're just concerned about the longevity of the truck. So to make the truck last longer, and we talked, you may recall this, we talked about a modular unit that has the water tank, has the motor, has the pumps, all that stuff on it. The original price that Randy gave us was $8,100. But as I went through and looked it all over, we upgraded it with electric start and a battery, so that it will charge its own battery and be able to start electrically, so they aren't trying to pull the cord, because that was one of the concerns we had when we talked about doing a generator, was being able to start it. And then the original quote was for the hose to have a ball valve on it, you know, so they could open the ball valve. And I got to thinking about, well, the slots in those water bags are about 2 inches, you know, so to hold a ball valve and try to get it in the water bag, I thought that would be a little challenging. So I got a quote to upgrade it to a nozzle. It looks like a gas pump nozzle. So they just can stick it in and hold it. The pump on this pumps 15 gallons a minute. So bags are 5 gallons. So they'll be, you know, it's not like they got to stand there for, you know, when they were doing what we were doing last year with inverters not running and only one pump running, it took them a while to fill a bag. They could put the hose in and do something, but with this, it'll be about as fast as they can walk from bag to bag to fill them. So it's going to increase our efficiency, and it's going to save the water truck. So we don't have to buy a new one maybe for a few more years. So, Randy, anything else you want to add to that?
I think that covered it.
I think that covered it. So we talked about last year, there were a couple projects that I had encumbered money for, but they didn't pan out. So we wound up being able to encumber $8,100 of the money from last year's budget. So this year, to do the upgrade with the electric start, the nozzle, and the battery kit was an additional $650. So I've gotten quotes for it. Actually, I already got the POs because I could get them, but I don't have the money yet. I have the $8,100, but I don't have the $650. Have any questions or concerns about any of that?
Tell me about the water truck. Who owns the water truck? City?
City. Parks,
And
Parks
so-
Department.
Our job as Shade Tree Commission is what? They give us a truck to use and we have to supply the equipment to water the trees? Is that what you're trying to figure out here?
If I may.
You need to come to the microphone.
Yes,
We'll put
please.
Scott on the.
Spoke up.
Scott was involved when we first got the truck and did it all. Scott was the superintendent of the parks. He's the one that set it all up.
Okay.
The truck was purchased through a grant through Ariel Foundation. Then the city or my department, we provided the tank and things like that. But they also bought the pumps and everything, the original. And when I'm saying this, I'm trying to think 2012, 2013 is when that truck was purchased. Is that a 13, Randy? 12 maybe?
But this
Yeah.
truck is specifically for Shade Tree.
Yeah, yeah. In the springtime, Randy's guys, they load it, and it'll be nice with this new pump and tank. It's all one unit on a frame. You use a forklift or a tractor with forks, pick it up, set it in a truck. You could put it in other vehicles too if you needed to trade off.
It's just our truck.
It's designated for shade tree use, yes.
Now, in the winter months, they use it for other things. It doesn't just sit idle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But for Shade Tree work, correct?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Not always. Would you say,
It's not, they're not out there
It's not.
plowing snow with it, are they?
I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the parking lots.
But if it was purchased, I'm not being, if it's purchased for the Shade Tree Commission, or was it purchased for the parks?
Yes. The shade tree does not own the truck.
That's what I'm asking you.
The city owns the truck.
Okay.
Okay, that's where I thought that's where he was going. Shade Tree does not own the truck.
Okay.
The truck is made available for Shade Tree use through
Now
the
I got it.
watering
I thought it was
season.
Shade Tree truck.
No,
Okay,
it's
gotcha,
a
Scott.
City of Mount Vernon Parks Department vehicle, that's the way it's titled.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And the watering grant that we get covers the cost of the employees. Does it cover the cost of the fuel, or is that something Parks Department puts in?
That's something the city has covered.
The Parks Department covers the
So the
cost of the
Shade
fuel.
Tree owns this pump and the hose and all that, and you're asking to make it
I
more
mean, the
efficient?
city still will own it, right?
The city will still
We
own
don't
it.
own anything.
We don't own anything. We're
Okay,
just,
so why does the Shade Tree money have to pay to maintain this pump?
because we have to water the trees. They have to be watered. That's our mission is to get the trees in the ground and maintain them for longevity.
And we're using this pump that's owned by the city.
We're using this pump.
And if we do this upgrade of 8,100, we still won't own it. We just.
So
we
it
are
will
just-
belong to the Parks Department.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parks Department.
Everything
we
is
are
in-
still the city. We're volunteers for
Yeah.
the city and a subset of.
Everything's
trees.
covered under the city.
We're still.
We're all the city. It's
Okay.
just that there's different areas. And to make it easier for titling and insurance and tags and maintenance and things like that, it's the city. I mean, if you had everything in every little department, then it would just be another nightmare for the auditor's office to try to
Okay,
keep.
good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, you're learning. It's your first year on
And
here.
the money
so-
comes from the city,
I got it.
Yeah,
this portion of it anyway.
Here's your budget. This is what we want to spend. This is how much the city gives you, and this is how you
Right.
determine to spend this. What they approve for 50,000.
Yes.
We as a board, we figure out how we're going to spend the money.
Yeah.
And
you guys in engineering, and then you also have grants.
Right.
There's grants that come in that help funds a lot of the trees being put in and things like that. So there's a few moving parts to it, but it has one main purpose, and that is to provide trees and shade trees for the city of Mount Vernon, and then to be good stewards by watering them, fertilizing them, and treating them for infestations and things like that.
I got it now, Scott. Thanks.
Hey, you're-
I didn't before.
No, that's fine.
I'm being really
That's
serious.
why
I
we're
didn't know
I'm
where you
here.
guys are.
We just do what we want, Russ.
No, I don't mean that. I'm definitely not meaning that, but I mean,
It-
I understand we're under the city blanket, but we have to do. Got
Right.
it now.
If I could, since I've got a torn meniscus, can I
Yeah, I
just
saw
remain
you hobble
standing
up there,
for
yeah.
a few minutes?
We worked you hard last year, huh?
Oh, like a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. My fingernails are starting to grow back, so that's all right. I just wanted to give you a quick update. I got my park hat now, the Area Foundation park hat.
Okay.
Brian and Wade and Gatton has been busy bringing trees in. I did share a picture or two on Facebook of them. We was out there in a snowstorm spading in trees. So I thought that was unique, so I shared that. And then Danny was out there today because our frost around the lake is 18 inches, and you can't spade that. So he brought a track excavator in and got the holes pre-scratched up and everything for the rest of the trees. So, and then he also is preparing for the Norway spruce to go into the replacement up around the parking lots, and then the areas that we had some loss there.
Yeah.
So things are looking good out there. It's very much appreciated. The board appreciates it. I talked with Doc Brown about the 250 anniversary, US 250. There's going to be a tree that's donated for that. I've got a spot out in the meadows where we're going to remove a tree and have it ground out. We'll have a dedication service. This will be another way to be able to show a partnership between the Aerial Foundation and the city working together.
The
Yes.
white oak in the link that you forwarded. Is that the white oak for the county?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
when is the 10-year anniversary of Aerial Foundation?
it's this year.
25.
25. So I was thinking, and the signatures and everything is 26. So I mean, if we do it this fall or something like that,
Well,
I
they
just
said
want,
25, 26.
yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that it was well received and very much appreciated to be included in that. So other than that, now back to my other.
Well, we're on that real quick.
Yes.
And you heard me mention this before, and if you pay attention to anything I say, I don't know if you do or not.
Oh.
The Meadows is a beautiful area. It's a nice, great, big open area, and I've been for years talking we should have some specimen trees in the meadows. We don't need to plant a forest, but if we plant 2 or 3 or 4 trees that can grow into nice, majestic trees, that's a beautiful place for that. It's the excellent location for it. And this is getting that started.
Yes.
So that's something, if we could build on that and bring in a couple new, 2 or 3 more trees into that as part of this America 250 Aerial Foundation 10-year anniversary. I think that would be a great project.
And
It would add to our water.
Tom, yeah, and the city and the board is partnering there. We're going to do some removals of those trees I showed you, the box elder that's, needs to go. And then that one maple is all busted up. It lost more limbs, so it needs to go. And then there's, I think, 2 maples, 1 box elder there. And then I'm going to have SOS clean up the other trees
And some
around
of those
there.
stumps and things.
Yeah, we're going to do a little structure pruning on those to relieve some stress and stuff on some things. So, and then there's a few in the woods. There's a few dead wild cherries that need to come out, and I could cut box elders out of there probably all summer long.
Did
so.
we get we had some of those locusts in there with the big spikes, and we got a lot of them out, but I think there was one that got missed.
There's about 3 in there. So
is that on your radar?
Yeah, I'm going to talk to him. The one is a big rascal. And if worst case scenario, we can at least make sure we're limbed up and clean it up where no one can get around the thorns. That would be a plus. But they do come out on the suckers and the sides. So I would rather, if we can, we'll get that tree removed. That way it'll just make it easier. That's some of those big ones, those big 3-inchers. So, yeah, the 50 native trees with the city going back with the Delano Run Field of Discovery. They're going to be doing that, but I'm still going to work with them and help out up there. All the evasive stuff that is dead, I'm going to talk to about getting. We have a forestry head with a skid steer locally now.
Oh.
So if I can get that rascal for about 3 days, I can get some
We
stuff.
had Mike clean a lot of that up last year.
Yes, and I want to continue that, and I want to get it ready. The dirt, once it dries out and it's not like pudding anymore, we'll be able to get it spread, and we're going to do some more pollinators and some, I think Mike is planning on some sunflowers, things like that. We thought it'd be nice to be able to do like a big sunflower area and then do some walking paths through there. I've been seeing a lot of things on the internet of people taking pictures, senior pictures, all kinds of stuff in them. So
You just have to be careful with sunflowers. They're allelopathic, so they'll kill off competition.
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
group. So
Well, I
you gotta
want,
really make sure they're secluded in one
yeah, I
area.
want to keep them in one area. We're not going to try to place them. Yes, sir.
When you're done.
Oh.
I'm here for a reason.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Well, then
sorry,
I-
I just ignored you.
Okay. I just thought you was coming in.
Yeah, we're nice to see you.
Do you guys have any questions for me, or?
That was it for AFP. What do you got about, you're gonna start your pruning and all the stuff in the spring and,
Yeah,
Pulling-
April's when we'll probably start all that, and then if need be, if I get a day here or there, I really like to prune this time of the year. So if I get a day, I'll do it, and then we'll just deal with that as we. Yeah,
do you have last year's water list? So you know
I believe I do. If not,
make sure we get it
I'll
to
reach
you.
out to somebody. I think I have last year's.
Okay.
I'm 90% sure.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, if I can crash the party.
Certainly, yes. Sorry, I saw you. I just thought you were just enjoying the afternoon with us.
Well, of course I am,
You got nothing else
but
to
I
do?
got something else going on too. So, since Mr. Zimmerman brought it up, I felt like, and we've got the engineering staff in here, and the director, or our city engineer, I felt like it would be a good time to just kind of give the Shade Tree Commission, and Beautification, I might add. You got more than just shade trees on here. And just a rundown of the Columbus Delano Field of Discovery, which is what is formerly referred to as the West Prairie at Ariel Foundation Park. The city, now as we move into 2026, the lease agreement with the Foundation Park Conservancy will expire, and that's being renegotiated with the Foundation Park Conservancy. But we have crafted some addendums to that as we explore some of those changes, and we've been working with the FPC and our city team to do that. One big one is the Columbus Delano Field of Discovery. And as Scott's already mentioned, there are different elements to that. A big part of that is sections for pollinator fields and native grasses, sections, very secluded sections for what are gangsta thugs, sunflowers, apparently. News to me. And then at the head of that, we have a 50 native trees section for, which is Ohio Native Trees Arbor. And then, which is already there, will be taken care of. And then additionally, we have the Johnny Appleseed Heritage Arbor off to the more to the Harcourt Road section, which we'll be expanding and working on as well, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah. So, and we're working with Quentin here to, and Zane, I believe, has been working with us on developing a kind of a winding path, and I think he's got some information that I really think you're going to like about how that path's going to weave back in through there. And I think Ariel Foundation Park, the plan is to kind of take their 5K trail and weave it through that field of discovery as well. So it's going to be kind of a signature destination in the park. You know, you've got locations throughout the park between the SEC for entertainment. You've got the Raston Towers, kind of one of those places you know, make it to the brochure, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then we've got the lakes and whatnot and those different pavilions. But this is another one of those destination sections. When we talk about Ariel Foundation Park, it's not your typical neighborhood park. It is a destination park. And this is another destination within a destination park. So just real quick, if you have any questions about the Columbus Delano Field of Discovery, and I assume you know who Columbus Delano is, maybe not. So
I've heard.
heard his name bandied about.
Heard his
occasionally.
name bandied around.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things when I was talking to Zane, and that's why we've got these little handouts. This first page is, those are some of the original Indian trails.
Mm-hmm.
And Zane has worked on a layout where similar, you won't be able to use them all, but using those trails as the trail through the pollinator area, which will divide it into the segments so we can keep things compartmentalized in that way.
Yeah.
And if I could add real quick, we are going to bring back our Indian, the Snake Mountain Trail that was.
Oh, you're gonna bring back the
I'm gonna-
serpent?
Yeah, I talked to the young man that did that as an Eagle Scout, and we're going to get that taken care of and be maintaining that as well.
So kiosks, educational kiosks will go back in there. Some other things are going to be like, we chose to go with biodegradable art installations. I mean, we're not going to overdo it, but of course, we wanted to go with that. That way, you know, they're in there for a while. Like I think like a log sculpture. It's in there for a couple years. Then we, you know, grind it down, throw it back onto the trail, give it back to God, and then we do another one. So, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So, all right. That's
Thank
all
you.
I got. Just want to let you know.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
All right, so, any questions about any of that stuff? Want to talk about or have questions? Good deal. Okay, we'll move into
We
old.
need to go back to the water truck. We haven't finished that.
Okay, what do you want to do with the water?
I don't know, like you were saying, you're asking the committee.
Oh, to expend the extra $650, yes, we need a motion to spend that,
Yep,
sorry. You
that's-
gotta keep me on the game.
Hey, I'm there, buddy.
That's why you're here.
I make a motion, we spend the extra $650. I'm not sure what it's for the nozzle, for the electric start
And the battery.
and the battery. You know what I mean?
Battery
I
kit.
make a motion that we spend, because we already approved the 8,100.
Correct.
And I'm asking for another approval of $650. Everything I just said, the nozzle, the electric start, and that.
Yes.
I second it.
Second it, all in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Good deal. I think
Thank
it's money well spent, guys.
Thank you.
We're gonna make our truck last longer and we'll be better off in the long run.
Okay.
Okay, so on here, I have Heartlight and Commerce Park. In November, we took the tour, Zane and Brian, and geez, I don't remember who all went on that tour.
Jeff Good.
Yeah, Emil was there. And we went in and gave them a presentation in December of 197 trees that will go into that site. The vast majority of them in the park out on the corner of Sandusky and West Chestnut. And I can't remember the name of the engine that they made that park is designed after. It's on my another document. They are very excited about it and haven't committed totally to it yet, but they're interested in it. So,
And that's totally funded by.
and that would be funded by them. Okay. So now, then we came to 197 trees in an area that has no water spigots. Okay. So in talking with them, last year as a pilot project, we worked with an HOA and watered trees for them, and they paid us for it. So I presented to Jeff that they pay us to water their trees and buy the water bags. So that's part of the deal. If they decide to buy, go with the trees, they're going to pay us to water the trees and to buy the water bags. So we'll have that. It puts an extra load on your water crew. I know I could see you smile when I said that, but we're filling the bags faster. So it'll be a good trial.
They do have a maintenance crew.
Their maintenance crew is not set up to water trees and do that kind of stuff. That was one of the first things I talked to them about. Yeah, we talked
Because
about
there's
that.
maintenance guys.
There's
I
maintenance
see them
guys.
every day.
Their job is they keep the communal areas taken care of. As far as watering the trees, they didn't have the facility, the equipment or the facility. So, hopefully in the next meeting, we'll be able to tell you that's gonna happen and we'll go from there. I got Arbor Day on here, we talked about Arbor Day and I have this, I wrote the square with it too. Turning the square into an arboretum. Zane, do you have anything you wanna bring up about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can just talk about what it is. So in the square, Brian had gone and identified with Doc all the species we have in the square. For a level 1 arboretum, you need 25 unique species. You need to create an arboretum plan, and you need to hold a related event there once every year. There's pretty minimum requirements, and we strongly believe we're able to do that. We have the species, so we just need the plan and to commit to an event every year. It can be an Arbor Day event, or it can be something different. Doc and I have talked about ideas for that, such as doing something specific on a first Friday or things like that, where we can while we're already there and occupying the space, be intentional about being there. And so we're going to push for, I plan to draft that Arboretum plan up. We'll review it and submit it with the application for this level 1 Arboretum, and all things planned should go through. So, yeah. And then, yeah, we can get it designated as a level 1. There are 4 levels, so it's the smallest goal, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
So we talked about doing an Arbor Day there and bringing kids and all that. And then, so one of the things I mentioned to Zane was, with having to hold a yearly event, is pollinator, Bee City is in the first Friday every summer. So we could make one of those first Fridays Bee City in the Arboretum and qualify under the yearly
Okay.
thing. So we wouldn't have to actually have an Arbor Day there and then go to a school also. That was the line of thinking when we went through the document. So I put it under Arbor Day because we want to do that, but I still think we should do a school for Arbor Day, and then on the first Friday, the very first Friday, do our dedication of the Arboretum. Kind of do them in 2 different things. And the reason, and we don't have to do it because I say, but I'm thinking with first Friday, we have a lot of people downtown. So it creates a lot of buzz. It creates more awareness than just busting in a bunch of kids. It's a great idea. Logistically a little challenging, but it's a great idea. So that's kind of where we went with that in our conversation.
Yep.
So that we'll be hitting that again here in the future as he works on the plan and we get
Yeah, so I'm just
closer to
gonna,
doing the application.
I'm gonna verify our species out there. We'll get that looked over twice. Brian's done it, and I fully trust that he's got it all right. There's a couple that were just SPPs, so I want to get those down to species. Once we do, submit that plan, and it'll go into review.
Very good.
So.
Questions about that, anybody?
Yeah, you usually have to have documentation too, minimal documentation.
Yeah, he's got the application.
Yeah.
You have to have labeling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there'll be signage. Right now, we have in the center around the monument, there's a little kiosk that have a little map of each quadrant with the trees identified. So we're still trying to figure out if that's gonna qualify for labeling or if we'll have to actually label each tree.
We talked about doing a QR code so people can bring them up and get information about the trees and everything, life history and all that stuff. So it's a little more informational than just this is a white oak or something like that. So
Increase
Doc
the
and I talked-
educational value.
Yep, Doc and I have been in talks about that, what we want to do. When we get to that point, we'll bring it up here again for how we want to proceed with the signage.
Very good, I appreciate it. Well, I'm gonna keep you there for a minute. I had TCP next, but we're, with the grants, the West End, we had Laura, and you were working with Laura, and you were working with me, and you were working with email, and so where are we on all this?
Yeah, so Laura had gone and done some of the West End. Doc, Emil, Russ, and myself had done the other part. I never found any other information for you for those addresses.
Yeah, I tried looking and I couldn't find anything.
So we ended up walking the neighborhood, and do you remember the number? Emil, do you have the number off the top of your head? I know you kept a list. I don't remember. Anyway, we went through the list of everyone who responded to us, put trees on their property. We ended up having more money than we had responses, so we were able to get some people multiple trees in that neighborhood, and we spent the day getting people trees. We requested a quote. We got the quote submitted by Wade and Gatton, and as far as I know, the funds allocated for trees for that area, what was it, 25,000 for the PO? I don't know. We spent all our money. Yeah, we spent all the money we had to plant trees. So
Didn't we flag 35 trees?
that might have. Like I said, I don't know what the number was off the top of my head. We got quite a few.
I do not.
I
That was
have
35 trees.
I have a
Yeah,
list.
I've got a list downstairs
I
too.
sent Zane a list and Quentin a list, and I have
Better
one.
news,
of
there's 2 bags of trash and a big rubber piece.
Yeah.
those. Yeah,
Yeah,
Russ was out there.
Russ was doing community cleanup while we were out there. It was a really great time. We got a lot of people happy. We talked to some people who were out there, and they were excited to see us. So, looking
So-
forward to it.
The total tree count for the West End was,
We don't know.
Well, our original requests were right at what we thought we'd be able to put in.
I
and we've
think
had
it said
some
there were
peop-
100 responses, yes.
Yeah,
at
and then we
some
had
point
some
in the
people
fall.
that backed out and some people that added, so it's in flux a little bit right now.
We should have right around that 100 though,
Do you
with
have the
room.
count for everybody for 24? Will that be like next?
Well, yeah, I don't have your count, and I only have Laura's.
Yeah, I'm just.
Well,
My count is 69 unless I get approved for 70.
We
So, which is 20,000
we
and change. 20,600.
we should be able to.
Right, so that was the
That's-
one extra, so yeah, 70
yeah,
trees.
there's enough, the TCP grant, you max that, but there's enough in the arbor planting grant,
Right.
which was what we used to do all the grants we did. I believe there's enough in that to cover your
Okay.
overage.
Well, I'm just saying that's the tree number 70 then.
Yeah, there should be, because we had people that backed out and some things changed, we should be able to cover all that.
And we had a couple non-project properties and non-TCP properties that Doc and I have talked about getting trees on, which they'll bring that number down, 3 at the Mount Vernon Inn, 1 additional on Sandusky, some of those. So even with those, we should have enough to cover extras and possible double for any of your residents who wanted more than 1 tree. So we'll compile a list of everything, see where we're at based, and compare it to what we had a PO for. And I'll get a final number for the remainder of trees we can use and utilize.
Are you saying 69 requests for 2025 or?
No, for 2024, I have submitted to Brian 69, and if the $300 extra is approved, it'll be 70 trees per my section.
You have requests for 70,
Right.
yeah.
Sarah, did you go through the whole list, or were there still more?
So as with seemingly the year before, which I did not do
Yeah.
that project, then it seems like people request you from about August of like 23 through July of 24, and then I kind of got to I've hit my quota.
Yeah.
So now I have people who from like late summer, early fall
Yeah.
have requested through now still that would be on 2025.
You hit your number before you got to them, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's about 12 months worth of people, so it
Yeah.
must have happened that way the year before. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there's always stragglers that come.
yeah, that's
So-
fine.
so
I just
anybody
wondered
who
how
re-
much of the list you had
Anybody who
gotten through.
requested through July that responded to me.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
reached out a couple ways.
Yeah, no
got
problem.
contacted, got trees. So
Great.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good. All right, thank you.
Do we have a number on trees we plan to plant this year? Out of
Planting this
curiosity.
year?
Yeah.
Goal, you mean?
No, what we.
Well, until we nail down where what
Okay.
we're doing, no, we don't have an exact number.
That was out of curiosity.
I don't have an exact number.
Okay, that's great.
It's
All right.
in flux.
We've averaged.
It'll be over 400.
We've averaged 490 some over the last 10 years, so I reckon we will be close to that again.
I would think that's where we're gonna be.
Yep.
Then, Laura, are you good with everything on that? Do you have anything to add?
No, nothing to
Obviously,
add
some years are more or
about
less.
that, but
In
are
10
we
years, we've
determining
planted,
the
I don't know
next,
the
are we gonna do
exact
target neighborhoods again this year, or are we gonna kind of,
I think this went very well this year.
Okay.
And we talked about doing the south side of West High
yeah,
and then
that-
coming to the north side
Yeah.
of West High. I think
so
we
we're now we'll do
should.
the north side?
I think we should.
Okay, it's not as large an area either, I don't think.
And just for planting and for Brian and his planning, I think we might want to hit it earlier in the year and maybe put our cutoff a little bit earlier, just so that we can get the numbers to him a little quicker. We've got a little time to talk about that.
Okay. Okay,
So
that's
everything's
all I
good?
have. Yep,
Okay,
I don't-
good.
I've got nothing.
I have a thought that came up from reading the minutes, and then when Brian and I had been going around for my stuff, which was all over town.
Yeah.
I know former Elmwood building asked you for more trees, and I know that it says there are a lot of lines in there are. but they took down the fence around the old playground, and there's space, not in the tree lawn, but sort of at the edge of the asphalt, it's in a little bit, and I don't know if you,
Yeah, they're gonna get 7 trees around that.
are they gonna, if they took out some of that little old asphalt before they get to the railroad ties for the swing sets, they could probably do.
When Brian and I.
Did you
walked-
go there
we-
again?
Yeah, we've been there and looked at it.
Well, I know, I went around with him after, and I'm like, they could put some there, they're not technically tree lawn, but they're not under, so.
Well, we identified a spot for, or 7 locations.
Okay.
And I,
Is that along Pine?
Talking about taking some asphalt out.
Some old asphalt that's just sitting there.
oh, well, we,
Kind of unsightly asphalt that really doesn't.
Yeah, and they've covered up the rest of the asphalt with like the ties and the chips for the playgroundy stuff that's still there. So it's just like 8 feet of unused asphalt lingering. I could take you a picture.
yeah, let's go, well,
Or-
let's meet sometime and go look at that when the snow's gone. And
Right.
you can show me what you're talking about, and then we can talk to Rick and see if they wanna invest in what it takes to get that done.
Yeah, I don't know how much. It doesn't seem like it'd take a lot to.
Yeah, I don't know. And time and money, they'd have, that's, the school would have to do that.
Spend time and money getting the fence out around the whole
Yeah.
thing, which seems really different.
But you never know about the, their budgets, how renditions. But yeah, let's get together and look at
Okay.
that, okay? And I'll try to go by,
It's on the Pine Street side as you
okay?
go east.
Yeah, that'd be on the north side.
On the north side and in front of where the swing set still exists.
Okay.
Doc, this is Erin. She has something she would like.
Oh, I'm
Can you
sorry.
introduce yourself for
Can
us?
you introduce yourself,
And
please?
then,
Aaron Salva, and I had a quick question for Zane, actually.
Yeah.
I just was kind of wondering if there was any other designated arboretum in Mount Vernon, or will this be the first on the square?
This will be the first in city limits.
Okay, sweet.
As far as I know, we have no.
Well, yeah, we have one out at Ariel Foundation, the 50 natives, but
Okay.
we never officially got that.
Yeah, it's not accredited. Like,
Yeah, it's not accredited. This will be accredited.
So just
So
a,
they review this accreditation? You have somebody come and review this?
Yeah, it's through NORD. Yep, it's an official, just like how Dawes is a level 4, we'll have a level 1 through the same organization.
sweet. I just thought I'd introduce myself. Aaron Salva, I'm the Arch Park Community Garden Coordinator.
oh, good.
And as part of that Arch Park Community Garden, we're looking at building a community food forest. And we're working with the city on this, the mayor's office and Brian, and hope to start in the spring, actually involving partners from Kenyon's Permaculture Environmental Studies class, where we'll be putting in trees related to creating food in the community. So, yeah, and one of the groups we're working with is a Fruit Tree Planting Foundation. It's an international nonprofit foundation, and they donate trees. So we'll be looking for help getting those trees in the ground, doing some type of a community work day. I know. I look at.
I was gonna say, you're not pointing at me, are you?
There's 2 over there who are really good at it.
And you know, we're going to tap a lot of folks at Kenyon if we can, certainly in the spring, get some of these fruit trees in the ground. But I know that also at Arch Park, we were waiting for the AEP lines to be relocated, and that's a huge thing. So we may not actually be able to plant those this summer, but I just thought I'd introduce myself and kind of come and see what you guys are doing, and I'm really impressed with what I've heard so far today and all the work that you're doing. It's pretty cool.
Come back anytime.
Yeah.
So I have a question, a forest.
Oh, so a community food forest is essentially, there's about 200 of these in the nation, and most of them are kind of related to school projects, but not all. A big part of this is going to be an integrated play space and learning space for kids. So that's a focal point for this particular. What's that?
That's where you get the grant money.
It helps with funding.
Correct.
So are you thinking like behind the community garden between there and the dike?
So
or-
I actually, on the map, and I could pull it up, but it's this area, here's the community garden, and it's this area all the way to the basketball court. I know that basketball court's pretty dear to the Learning Center because I do a community school garden with the Learning Center. So we don't want to compromise that. We'll probably work around it if we can, and, you know.
I know they had also had some plans for a new pavilion in that.
Yeah, I
Between
don't know what happened to that.
I haven't seen anything official, I know. Just,
Right. But basically, a food forest is also called a forest garden. So it's a diverse planting of edible plants that are designed to mimic a natural ecosystem. That's kind of the bottom line. Like a wild forest, it consists of multiple layers. So, you know, you have your top story, your understory, your brush, and your vining plants. And it includes annuals as well as perennials. So lots of pollinators in the space. the food is not just for people, it can be for animals as well. Like a wild forest, a food forest is simply a continuous cycle, self-sustaining. So there will be, after 2 or 3 years, after the first 2 or 3 years of the installation, minimal maintenance, right? It's designed to hold water. You guys talked a lot about watering.
Stormwater, yeah, we love that.
These
That was
these
my
little,
question.
they're basically plant guilds, and I've got some pictures that I could show you, but a plant guild is essentially a grouping of trees that kind of, they like to live together, you know, in groupings like this. There's one that might be designated a hazel tree guild, there's one that might be an oak tree guild, but they all have the upper story, middle story, shrubs, and lower story. So we're using a combination of techniques, including hugelkultur, plant guilds, and planting these kind of trees as the fruit trees as kind of part of the food forest. So just the beginning stages here
Very good.
in the design, so I thought I'd say.
One of the things we have to keep in mind when we're doing this, and I get reminded regularly from the Parks and Street Department, is how we're gonna maintain this.
Yeah, exactly,
And that's,
exactly.
when I'm looking at Randy, because he's the parks guy, he's the
Randy's
guy
going,
that's
oh
gonna.
no, it's her again.
He's the guy going, oh, no. He
We
did
got a
that
pile
one.
of leaves over there from, I think, Randy, you dumped
Is
those
this
off.
a national thing or is this
Yeah.
just a local thing?
Sounded like it's a national.
So
This is a
I got a
national
question for you.
organization.
it's an,
Is this a
in
national
the
organization?
Fruit Tree Foundation is an international organization or an international charity, and it's actually being coordinated through OSU Extension. So there's a guy at OSU Extension that's going to be helping us with this
So
project.
you guys plant fruit trees and it helps.
Well, I mean, we're going to plant nut trees and fruit trees and berries and all kinds of stuff that can
We
produce
might
fruit
have
as
some
well.
chestnuts,
Oh, do you really?
maybe.
Yeah,
Are they the
planted a bunch, and some of them's living.
We planted a bunch
Are they the
down-
blend, the 98% Chinese, or
No.
98% American, 2% Chinese?
The ones we planted, those, they were given to us by ODNR, they were called 1516, they were a hybrid of Chinese and American.
About 15,
15, 16.
But last year, I was able to collect a 3-gallon bucket of chestnuts from a chestnut tree that one of my patients has in his yard.
That's exciting.
And
That's
Brian
real exciting to
Brian
hear.
planted a bunch of them, and I planted a bunch of them.
Fencing this, because the deer population is.
I know that little deer
They-
highway there on the dike. I know.
Oh, no, that won't, there's a lot of deer.
Yeah, we're looking at using the hugelkultur partially and some natural fencing. We're looking at willow fencing, but that's very expensive and not really that great in terms of long-term
Yeah.
sustainability. So
You need to Fort Knox it if you want.
I know, you're right.
The deer will eat them.
That's
If
gonna
they
be
don't eat them, they'll rub on them.
That's going to be a big cost.
So you'd like a 2-year, 3-year timeline? What's your line of thinking?
In terms of installation, 2 to 3 years, yeah.
2 to 3 years?
And as I say, real formative. I'm not the key planner. I'm behind it. I'm kind of the
So
garden
who
muse,
benefits
if you
from
will.
the fruit and berries, all that?
Yes, yeah.
Who?
Who's planting it?
No, who's benefited from it?
Anybody?
Oh, it's the community.
Community.
And that's the big part of this is really getting West End input and buy-in. I've been in that neighborhood doing the community garden work there for the last 10 years. Well, no longer, 12 years. And so I've established a lot of relationships within the community, some folks from the community garden with us, and these folks are who this is for, right? West End and all of Mount Vernon. We plan to do educational kiosks, a lot of educational programming, some of that which is already happening at the park. That, I don't want to take a lot of time, but we're doing school programming with Learning Center. We're doing the Green Teen Summer Internship Program as well, the 8-week kind of a educational program for teenagers. So that kind of stuff, but even more specifically, I think, target it to regular folks in the community, just to come out and learn about pollinators, come out and learn about, how can I do this, plant this little plant guild in my own backyard, kind of thing.
I see kids ride their bike through that park all the time. They stop, grab an apple, and keep going. That sounds.
Yeah, and we have strawberries, and that's a big draw. They love the strawberries
Yeah.
too. So yes, whatever we can do to kind of be a part of that community is our goal.
You have
So-
to put a lot, you have to put money in for deer control.
Yeah, I
You'd
know.
just be
Yeah.
wasting your time.
Well, yeah, the garden's fenced. I know you're absolutely right. I live in the country. The deer, we have a deer fence for sure. You don't do it without a deer fence. I mean, there are some plants you can plant that are like deer resistant, but
Very few.
very few.
So as you start getting through your stages and your planning, would you come back and fill us in, keep us up on it? And we'll-
Yeah, would love to do
we
that.
will-
How often do you meet?
We, the last Tuesday of every month at 3
I'll
o'clock.
make sure to get you my contact information. Last Tuesday of every month.
Or-
Sweet.
yeah,
Thank you so much for
Because
your time.
if there's anything we can do to help.
Engineering, Quentin and I work in there, so you can always.
All right, very good. Thank you. Here, I should pay attention to the audience more often, huh?
They have good ideas.
Oh, yeah, some of them, yeah. Yeah. So going through my list, I mentioned we have an ODR grant. We have to have it in by April 1st. We're going to try for that. Something that I think Quentin and I that will be hitting here this weekend, there's a pollinator conference at Ohio Wesleyan. It's a Saturday afternoon. We've talked about it. And I think we're going to go. I don't know if Zane, if you.
I'm unable.
You're
I'll be in
unable.
Pittsburgh.
So you're waiting to talk. Do you have anything else with pollinators? Because we got a couple minutes.
No, not really. No
Well,
updates at the
then
moment.
let me ask a couple things. When we talked about Commerce Park, they want their smoking pavilion, which used to be the pavilion at the fountain and then at Riverview. Now it's in Commerce Park. They wanted to do a little pollinator garden, and Quentin and I talked about getting some seeds, some coneflower, daisies, things like that, and just planting them. Have you found any? Have you thought about that again?
I mean, I know where to buy them. I haven't got a quote yet.
Okay, if you would. And then,
We haven't had our appropriations for the year, so I mean, now that we looked it up and I know how much we have, I can go ahead and do that.
okay, if you would.
For trust.
And then, last summer, we were in Arrow Foundation Park when we all looked around, found the dead trees and worked it out. And in the sidewalks along the terraces, they come together, they spread apart, come together, make little teardrops or whatever. And we had planted royal raindrops, I think was what we planted in there.
I think it was one of the pyramidal oaks.
Pyramidal oaks.
Yeah.
They have just done very poorly. So we talked about taking a couple of them where the trees are already dead and planting a little small pollinator pod right there to see how it comes along, and
They didn't have any mulchers around.
something that can just fill that space instead of having a or half mud, half grass thing in the sidewalk. That was something that was in the pollinators. Other than that, I've hit everything on my list. Anybody have anything?
Quentin, I have a question. Is it too early to figure out what we planted, those wildflowers, how they're doing on Beach Street? Is this way too early?
Yeah, way too
Oh
early.
yeah. Yeah,
Way
we'll
too
know,
early?
We'll know in March, April.
Okay.
Yeah, when buds start coming up on them.
That was a fun project.
Is this some of your clay gorilla planting, clay balls, seed balls, or?
No, these were live plants that we planted on kind of the hillside of the ditch
In front of
Beach
High
Street.
Watha Park and Beach Street.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how they do.
yeah, it'll be fun. Because if we can get the north side of that ditch to come in nice, then we can do the south side, and that would cut down on the mowing and all the other stuff in that area. All right, well, anybody have anything else they'd
I
like
do,
to add?
one more.
Oh.
If a person applies for a tree, when should they expect the tree to be planted if they get approved? Do they get approved right then? If they apply online, or is it just they apply and then you get back with them?
So which are you talking about, the TCP?
Shade tree, yeah,
Well, the
shade tree.
TCP program, or?
Keeping anything, like if you wanted a tree in the east side, let's
It's
say.
usually the following season. So TCP technically is the only grant that goes from July to June. Starts July 1st, goes to June 30th. So you can expect that, per what Sarah's saying right now, based off of the application she was able to get to, if somebody applies before June of this year, they can expect to be planted next year. If they
That's
wait,
what I thought.
depending on how many applications we
Right,
get.
right.
We have a bunch of applications come in. I mean, it could postpone another year, but you should normally expect it to be the next grant.
That's what I
Basically,
thought.
I started in date order, so earliest people got a call and a text from me first, and if they respond, I make an appointment and I go
earlier
see
you
what they
apply,
want.
the more likely you are.
I
to
mean,
get
I
it
felt like
year
that's
you
the
ask.
fair way to start with the old,
Are you
as far
guys
as older
planting
ones.
trees now from last year's budget? I seen you guys out on Mount Vernon Avenue. That's last year's budget.
Yes. Yeah, we're always, we'll spend this year, first part of this year planning, getting everything kind of lined up. In the fall, we encumber the funds from this year's budget, but they generally don't start planning until November, December, or January, February, depending on the weather.
Okay,
So the trees going in now were 2024 trees,
okay. That's what I got.
okay? Oh, what do you got?
I don't know, is it too late?
I need to leave at 4, so we got 5 minutes. You want to
Yeah, I
step
don't wanna
up?
put anybody behind.
Yeah, we're good.
I
What
might
do
need
you
you
got?
to come up to
Well,
the,
first off, I live in a new subdivision that was recently enacted.
You'll need
sir,
to come
can you
up.
come up to the microphone, please?
She can't get you in the
Usually don't
minutes.
need to use the mic.
I know, but I need your name and everything for the minutes.
Rich Larson,
Okay.
I'm not, I'm just coming in to help out. And our subdivision was recently annexed by Mount Vernon over on Upper Gilcrest.
The Gilcrest Estates?
Yeah.
Okay.
And those trees then technically, and the care of those trees technically then should belong under the auspice of the Mount Vernon, right? City of Mount Vernon Parks Department.
That, when they wanted to develop that land, it was all wooded. It was 100% wooded. And they came through and did the tree survey and then said, we have to remove 960 trees in order to put in the roads and the lots to build these houses. And the way the ordinance was written at that time, if they removed 960 trees, they had to plant 960 trees.
Okay, well, I'm just talking about the maintenance of these trees now.
The tree lawn trees.
The tree lawn, yeah.
Yeah,
But
the boulevard trees.
But the trees that they planted in replacement were planted as part of their
Well,
commitment to meet the requirements that we
Well, I
have.
gave the planning crew an F, okay, for what they did. All right, I'll tell you why. I can tell you why, but there's not time. But
didn't do it.
and part of the problem, part of the reason they still use rock around these trees, and that needs to be removed. Some of the trees are mulched, some still have rock, and I just wondered if the city of Mount Vernon could assist in the removal and mulching of those trees that still have stone around them, which is ridiculous.
I can speak to that real quick.
Quentin can speak.
I have one other thing I want.
Brian's not here, so he couldn't. He can
Yeah, I
speak
know,
to this
Brian
more.
is-
But I don't believe we've accepted those roads yet.
I wondered
as
about that.
as ours. So my understanding would be, once the division's considered complete, then they would come under our ownership. They would be our maintenance.
sometime in the future.
And reviewing those plantings would be part of that. So they have to keep those trees. We have a quota that they have to meet per zoning standards. And if they haven't met that quota, let's say in a year or whenever they are expecting us to take ownership of those roads, they'll have to replace those trees. And obviously if we see trees that are dying or just unhealthy in general, they'll have to do whatever they need to do to get those in shape. We wouldn't put funds into it until we know we're accepting something that's already of high quality.
Okay, that answers that question. It's sometime in the future then, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other question I have is I wrote the mayor about the deer issue out there because I had talked to my councilman, I don't remember his name for that area, but he was a real nice guy, called me back, and agreed that we need to have permits issued for deer control in the city of Mount Vernon. He agreed with it. He was on board with that. But he said there were two, shall we say, Bambi lovers on the council that were older people that would never approve it. They were supposed to leave. I'm paraphrasing what this gentleman said to me. I'm not making it up. And he said he thought that they would vote on it and the vote would be positive, that we would get some permits for, because, it's a very big thing out there.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And so I don't think this particular group has any direct involvement in that sort of thing. But maybe some indirect involvement if somebody knows anybody and can push this thing a little bit, some way.
Yeah, there are designated hunting zones within city limits. I do not know if that area has or has not been designated, but if it hasn't, we can try and include it and get it approved.
Yeah, because I would hire somebody to bow hunt out there
Yeah,
if I could actually get permits.
yeah. There are, like I said, there are designated zones. I am unsure of what category Upper Gilcrest falls, but if it is not, it is something we can push for.
Okay, I just want to,
Yeah.
I never got a response from the mayor, by the way, so,
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Thanks for taking my question.
Hey, that's quite right. We helped with some of it anyway. Okay. It's 4 o'clock.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? Yes, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, folks. I didn't get it brought up, but next meeting, the mayor's gonna come in and talk about the Regional Planning Commission and the city's views and input on that, on the sustainability and how the growth around that area.